All right. You guys ready for this?
Very excited.
Are you guys ready for this?
Oh, so excited. Hello and welcome to the kick-ass new intro of The Worst Movie Ever Made, an experimental new podcast designed, it's not new, designed with one thing in mind, to find the worst movie ever made. I'm your host, Chris Hockman. I'm joined by my co-hosts and fellow mad scientists, Rob Scucci and Bob Hasek. And if you wonder whether I'm actually saying it every week or we're just playing a recording of my voice, you now have your answer. How you guys doing?
All right, so you hear this? Do you hear that?
Unfortunately.
This is a dog whistle. Let me tell you about this real quick, and I promise it's related to the show. I moved into a new apartment, so my kids have their own bedroom. My rent is up proportionally to represent the amount of square footage we've procured. And then like a week into it, a new family moves in above us to the renovated apartment above us, and they got two yippy dogs, and they run up and down the hallway, and like the whole point of the new apartment was so our kids can have their own rooms and we can all sleep finally. And they're waking them up. So I bought this dog whistle, and it subdues their dog really well. And I only bring this up on the show because speaking of whistleblowing, we are talking about Dolph Lundgren in Army of One, aka the Joshua Tree, in which he blows the whistle on the corrupt police force, and we're going to talk about this today. Bob?
Yeah, I actually chose this movie based on a cardboard standee that I stole from a video store I used to work at.
Was it Dolph Lundgren height?
It was Dolph Lundgren height. I have somewhere I have photos of it. He was holding a pistol in the standee.
And was he just staring at your tits the whole time?
Oh man, that's perfect. That is so perfect. I mean, the choice of the movie didn't disappoint. I mean, it did disappoint. It did.
Yeah,
but not for the podcast.
Yeah. No. It's perfect for the podcast. So let's see what people on YouTube think of it.
Okay, YouTube comments. Here we go. You know what? I don't care what the haters say. I think Catwoman was great. Okay, 5 quick comments. This film reeks of the 90s, and by God, I love it. They won't ever make them like this again. I love this movie. One of my faves from Dolph, and then a heart. And the first one also had a heart at the end, by the way. As a kid, this was my fave movie. Had it on VHS. Dolph, Sylvester, and Schwarzenegger was my god trio. Then I have 2 more back to back. I want to see if you notice the theme on these. One of my favorite Dolph Lundgren movies. Can watch it a million times and never got bored. Especially on an old VHS player. Feels like true and immortal action classics. Then 3 thumbs up. And then, where is it? This movie screams of my childhood. So many great memories pop back in my head when I relive this movie coming up on the TV from the VHS player. I just love it. It's called a VCR. It's a VCR.
Yes.
Not a VHS player.
Right. Also, number 4 apparently has 3 thumbs.
Yes, exactly. 3 thumbs up. And Galgameth or something. And here's the last one. I saved it because this is amazing. Seen it for the first time in the 90s. Now I'm 38, and today I've seen it for a second time. ... Great. Awesome. Splendid. ... I'm 10 years old again. Thank you, Vic. I think Vic's the person that posted it, the video. Oh. And forgive me for my English. I'm Russian. It's Friday night, and I'm drunk. So,
perfect.
If you want to know, you want to know who this appeals to, it's somebody who's drinking by themselves on a Friday night
in Russia.
Yeah, this on YouTube alone in their darkened Kremlin or whatever,
watching Ivan Drago shoot a bunch of people while staring at a chick's tits. All right, test number 1, the worst of its kind.
Days of watching films help me find a string that's the worst of its kind.
you would not be surprised to find out that I had maybe 25 Dolph Lundgren movies. I had no idea how many movies he has in his filmography, but
Yeah.
so many movies suggested to me from him, and I didn't choose any of them. I went with Hard Target by JCVD because I just like to reference movies we have in our archive, so I can tell you to go listen to them.
TheWorstMovieEverMade.com.
Oh, Hard Target. Sorry. Excellent episode. And Bob, you were on for that one, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
That's the I'm gonna fuck you and I'm gonna eat you. That's where the whole bumper came from. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Out for Justice with Seagal.
Okay.
Another champion of the podcast. A 23. If I didn't say it already, Hard Target got a 60. So a 23 for Out for Justice. Wow. And Lone Wolf McQuade with Chuck Norris. We haven't done any Chuck Norris yet.
But no, we got to do
that. We should.
Yeah, next season. Although we should take a slight step back from action, as Rob pointed out. This season was actiony, but
that was the theme, though. I like the themed seasons, though. So I think we'll get around to it.
It was, and it's kind of our wheelhouse action anyway. 57%, and as I mentioned before, we went on air. I have a really long list of movies, and many of them are not action movies. So we'll talk about them later. An Innocent Man with Tom Selleck, a 44.
Oh,
his mustache was worth at least 30 points. So
right. Don't know if I said, but 57 for Lone Wolf McQuade, and then Control with Willem Dafoe. I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
A 49%. Like I said, most of the movies that were suggested to me were Dolph Lundgren movies, so I didn't want to do that. Anyway. Average a 46.6, not the best. What do you guys think Joshua Tree came in with?
Going off of, I'm trying to just go off what YouTube is saying. 65.
Okay.
I'm going 20.
Okay. Well, I had to do some trickery here because it was not reviewed by critics, so there was no score, and it had a 50. By the audience scores, so I split that in half for a 25. Critics thought it was so bad that they wouldn't review it. I consider that a 0.
Wait, 25 plus 0, 50 plus 0? So,
and then
I was thinking 25. I was like, no, it's 12 and a half, but no, you're right. I'm just being dumb.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're not. You're not wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway, if it does indeed have a 25%, that means that Out for Justice with Seagal had a lower score with 23, and I'm okay with that because fuck Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Making it not the worst of its kind, but a negative 21.6. So it's still a bad score, but it's not the worst of its kind. We'll see how that stacks up against our current season champion in the movie comparison later. As for now, we will throw it to test number 2, and we will all throw a pitch at you for this movie, and ain't that a pitch?
Now, ain't that a pitch?
Who goes?
I'll go. Santy gets revenge on the law. Those crooked cops surely dropped the ball. He takes peekies at Rita's mammalian protuberances sneakily and saves the day by killing them all.
Mammalian protuberances.
We found it on Imager like 10 years ago.
Yeah, we did.
Some guy just said that in the comments like about someone's boobs. I'm like, that's such a great phrase. I have to use it someday.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go next.
Okay.
Okay, there once was a man named Santee in a movie that's about a Joshua tree. Tons of ammo was used. The story is confused. You won't want to watch it again, I guarantee.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I will never watch this movie again.
No.
All right. Violence in cinema at this time hit a spike. But there was something else about this movie I didn't like. This Stockholm Syndrome bitch got with this big Swedish dick. Because it took 12 seconds to get over her shot in the head, murdered in front of her super nice ex-boyfriend, Guy Mike.
Chris, 5, because we got to make up for what we lost on Worst of Its Kind, and that was really good too. So,
well,
Chris, 5.
Thanks. All right, I'll Bob.
I'll go Chris 4.
Okay, so a 4.5. No, good. That will stack up well for later.
Cool.
and I win, so that's good too. Test number 3, the most offensive.
You love the way.
And I'll meet you. What was that again? And I'll meet you. That's what I thought you said. I'm offended.
Oh, there it is, the hard target.
Mhm.
This was an offensive movie.
Yeah.
Very.
Oh my God, very.
Yeah.
There are many things that we have to talk about, including 2 clips, which we don't normally even clip anything out. Eventually, every so often we have a clip for the most offensive, but we have 2 this week, and you'll see why later. But we'll start light with number 1, catcalling coppers.
Yeah.
So I forget her name. She's the lead actress is leaving the diner after having broken up with poor Mike, who seemed like a perfect guy, and I don't know why she left because he was boring, I guess.
Yeah.
And she walks by 3 cops who are leaning on a cop car, and they like whistle at her and say, "Hey, baby," or whatever. And it's like, policemen don't do that.
Yeah. 93 was a different time. You know, catcalling, Rodney King, like all that stuff.
Rodney King.
At the height of their power, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, number 2. Well, Rob, you alluded to this, but his honing in on her hooters.
Several times.
Oh my God, real bad. I mean, I guess if you're in the position where you're, taking a captive, you feel like maybe that's not the worst thing he could be doing, but it's still pretty offensive.
I feel like ogling in any contact is just kind of rude.
Yes, agreed. Even if she's your captive, you don't ogle her. You know, have some decency.
Yeah.
Oh, my light went out. Am I visible?
Yes.
Number 3, pointlessly plunging her pickup.
Okay.
Why not just leave it there? Let her go back and get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. So for reference, he like unlocks her, like he takes the emergency brake off or whatever and like puts it into drive and fucking just throws it off a cliff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pointless in this movie, so that's just number 1.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be like, oh well, that's what a career criminal would know to do. He really knows his stuff. He would destroy the car for sure.
I thought maybe there was like it was meant to be a decoy, but then they never followed through on it. Or it's like, oh, they see the crashed car, so like they go to check it out, and then they ran that way, you know?
Yeah, it took the cops an extra hour to figure out that there's like no bodies in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they never followed through on it, so it doesn't make sense.
They didn't.
True, they don't. Number 4, Motel Man making mention of Merrick making love. Her name's Merrick. I remember now.
Yeah.
So the guy at the hotel is like, "Hey, do you guys want a half an hour or you want the full hour?" Like
For butt stuff. That's what.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the kind of movie we watched this week. Number 5, biker bar bad boy bullshit.
Yeah.
Every single guy in the biker bar is an asshole.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 6, Severance's spouse spewing slurs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quite an offensive one. That is actually not a clip.
Right away.
It came out of her mouth with no real issue. And speaking of her, Detective decks his darling, and donut dudes don't do diddly.
Right, detective.
Yeah, he just backhands her right in the wide open daylight.
Yeah, Detective decks his darling, and donut dudes don't do diddly.
Okay, got it.
Okay, moving on. I have 3 more, and then of course mentions. Maybe we should do mentions before the clips. Number 8, alluring application of agave aloe.
That's right. He wouldn't want her to get sunburned, would he?
No, he would never want her to get sunburn out there in the
I love
desert.
how they're being chased by a caravan of like armed to the teeth crooked cops who will stop at nothing to cover their tracks, and they just stop to slather her tits with castor oil.
So ridiculous.
I thought the same thing. I thought, why are they taking time to make out right now?
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
I wish in this instance that you guys knew what my next couple were. Because I'm tempted to ask for mentions before we throw it to clips, but I'm afraid that you might mention the things we clipped.
I don't have any mentions. You guys can go ahead.
I have one that wasn't even in the movie, but I'll explain later.
Okay, so you don't want to go ahead with that now?
Go for it.
I feel like anything we want to talk about, we're gonna end up covering at some point because this movie fucking sucked.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right. So number 9 is our first clip of the day. This one's called "Food Eater."
Food Eater. Yep.
Nobody's seen him. Nobody knows him. Nobody speaks English.
What are you doing here? I want help. Sheriff Cepeda got my CO to cut me loose.
Thanks, cowboy. We got all the help we need.
It's okay, Rudy.
You speak Spanish, deputy?
Enough to curse in it.
Well, start using it.
Come on, son, I got a job. See those bean eaters? Start putting their feet to the fire. Good boy.
Rest of you get your thumbs out of your asses. Go in this neighborhood. I want every missing car, bike, shopping cart, and skateboard. Now move.
Yeah.
Wow.
The fugitive. This is not.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I
not.
I was just thinking, Bob, like this would be great if Tommy Lee Jones was yelling that. Every skateboard.
Yeah. I don't know, Bob. Do you know the guy who plays Severance from other things? Because I don't recognize him, but I feel like maybe he's a well-known actor.
He's super famous. It's George Siegel. Super famous in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
And this was like his salad days. You might recognize him from Look Who's Talking.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't specifically.
Kirstie Alley's boyfriend before John Travolta comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, fair enough. He must have been a little younger.
Yeah, he is super famous.
Yeah.
I do have a mention. Go ahead, finish what you're saying, Bob.
No, he's dead now.
Okay. The crooked cop's last name is Severance.
Yes, of course.
Funny.
Of course. Yeah, that's a catch-all.
Oh,
But there's more to it, so don't worry, you didn't ruin the bit.
All right, cool.
Gotcha.
All right, so did you want to say anything else before we do our second clip of the most offensive?
This is the best one.
No.
Let's do it.
Go for it.
Let's go with C-word. Which one?
We're doing everything we can, Lieutenant.
Yeah.
We can't block traffic in every...
Yeah, I hear you.
You've got to give me specific highway numbers, lots of courses. We can only...
Listen to me, you cunt.
There are only so many roads, and we've got only so many cars, Lieutenant.
I don't care how many roads there are. I want them blocked.
We've only got so many resources.
I don't give a shit. Santee's got a head start in a car that'll do 170 miles an hour.
He says it with such vitriol.
I do wonder if he hates the actress in real life.
Do you think they did like a Stanley Kubrick thing, like in The Shining, where like they made him yell that at her like 97 times just so they can
They
get her?
slapped her on the other. Like there's somebody sitting next to her on the phone, slapping her. Oh man. Yeah, that was bad. And there was another one we already mentioned, but they actually used the it's a slur for someone of Asian descent.
Yeah.
You could probably think it up real quick. It doesn't have anything to do with a color, more like a missing piece of armor. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Well, that was the Severance's wife, right?
Yes, it was when Santee breaks into her house, where he knows where she is because he's been fucking her because he's such a good guy, and we should be rooting for him.
That's right. He's our hero.
Yeah, he's the hero of the movie. Anyway, yeah, he's like he mentions he wants her to call somebody. I'm not gonna say who yet because this character is funny to me and I want to save it. But she's like, I'm not talking. I don't talk to that. And then racial slur.
Yeah.
Of which there were a few.
Yes.
Speaking of racial slur, here's my mention.
Yeah.
So there was alternate endings filmed of this movie, and apparently the one that I uploaded was not the original VHS release.
Oh God. Okay.
Anyway, there was a third ending where remember the guy that was like Severance's like partner? I think his name was Randy. Yeah. I think his name was.
Yeah.
Apparently, right before he was killed, remember Santee like shot him again to kill him?
Yes.
In the original ending, Santee was about to break his neck, and the guy said, "Eddie, wait, nothing but an N-word," and then they broke his neck.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah. So they used that in the original. That I'm like, okay, I'm gonna mention it because it's offensive as hell.
Well, it's super
Yeah.
offensive. Yeah. I can never remember the name of that really stupid horse movie we did.
Hot to Trot with
Hot to Trot. Yeah.
got Bobcat Goldthwait.
Well, it was a heavy hitter and won many a battle based solely on its use of that word.
The ice pirate word, yes.
So, that goes to show. Anything else, guys? And we'll throw it to test number 4, the worst dialogue. Can't wait for this one either.
All right, let's do it.
Go for it.
It's the worst dialogue.
I want to apologize if I look on edge. My son is crying in his crib, but he gets over it and falls asleep. So I'm going to assume he's going to do that, but I keep looking over to make sure that he's not crying anymore. Okay, clip number 1 of test number 4, the worst dialogue, which is what it sounds like. It's the 5 worst lines of dialogue, number 1 being the worst. This is number 5, our first clip. Let's go with Brass. 5. Oh.
Yeah.
County history.
Sheriff? Lieutenant?
She's got 2 brothers. One of them's a highway patrolman in Alaska. The other one's a Marine gunny in the Philippines.
Sounds like she's hanging a pair of brass ovaries.
In other words, she just may crunch this Santee guy herself. Save the taxpayers a lot of trouble.
Oh, one more thing. This motorcycle cop that Santee killed.
Jacob Delty.
Right, Jacobs. Give the press something on him. A grieving widow, kids without a dad. You know. I don't want anybody glamorizing this dirtbag Santee. I want him to see the price he made people pay.
Okay, fine. The end of that is whatever. I get it. It makes him more like evil to be like, broadcasting the sadness. But the brass ovaries line, holy shit! The credentialing of Merrick is that her brother. She has a brother that like is out in Alaska doing shit, and another brother that's like a sniper in the Marines or some shit like that. So apparently she's like a badass deputy sheriff. Yeah. Because of that. And then the guy's like, she must have some brass ovaries. I've never heard that. And it's a weird metal to pick because it's not the strongest.
Isn't brass very pliable? Like under a very small amount of heat.
Right.
Yeah.
There's that. Let's let Ivan Drago do some talking here with another clip. This one's called Or Without Them. 4.
The safe is on a time lock. I can't open it.
Is that right, Jimmy? Chick, chop, chick.
Now, don't be crazy, Santee. Come on, I tried to help you. Now, after Eddie Severance wanted to do you right in the hospital. I called a lawyer for you.
Chick, chop. Time's up. You can open the safe with your balls or without them.
First choice.
Looks like we missed one hell of a party.
Don't worry, Rudy. The fat lady hasn't sung yet.
Severance.
So cheesy.
Why did you go to Severance's house to call me, huh? Why didn't you just pick up another phone?
I wanted to save a dime.
That was I feel like the action heroes of movies of the 80s felt like they had to compete with Arnold's one-liners.
Yeah.
A lot you hear Sylvester trying to do that too. Yeah, but like I was trying to save a dime. And there's another part where Dolph is like, I turned away from Jesus or something when she asked what his crime was. It was something like that, right?
Yeah.
It could be my son, Rob. I don't know if you're hearing it through.
No, mine's doing the same shit. So.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to. I don't know. I might. Sadly, like run away real quick on the next clip or something and find out if his pinky's on the ground or some shit. Because he just won't not stop crying. So.
Before we go to clip number
3,
did you recognize the guy who got the threat to get his ball shot off?
I've seen him in
Yeah,
lots
I
of
feel
stuff.
like I've seen him before.
He's the convenience store clerk in Falling Down who got his shop wrecked.
Oh,
Michael Douglas.
Wow.
That's the same guy. You're
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Well, number 3 is not a clip, actually. I'm just going to do a little bit of work myself because I
Okay.
had to save clips for later. And we had 2 for most offensive. So
Yeah.
I'm basing number 3. It's not just one quick segment. It's the scene summed up.
Okay.
And it's where Dolph Lundgren and his dad, we come to find out,
Yeah.
are having a conversation at gunpoint. And the old man says, "What else can I get for you? You son of a bitch. Fry you up some eggs. Deed you my ranch." Took me a few times to figure out what he said there.
Yeah.
He said, "Deed you my ranch," which
Oh.
is I don't know if that's like an expression that people use when they're talking about, giving someone a deed to their property. But then as they're leaving, you don't know it's his dad, and Merrick is like, "Who was that?" And Santee goes, "Some old jailbird. My dad." like we didn't know that it was his dad. You're not supposed to know, but he's like, in respect for your mother, I'm gonna let you go, and whatever. And like it's obviously his father. And then the big reveal 40 seconds later is that it's his father, and you're like, well, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have 2 more clips before the end of the worst dialogue, and they get even worse if you can believe it. Starting with number 2. 2 like people.
It's funny. They kind of look like people, don't they?
You mean the Joshua trees?
Yeah.
The Mormon settlers thought they looked like the prophet Joshua. That's how they got their name.
Okay, so I thought that was totally ridiculous and probably not true. So I looked it up, and there is a kernel of truth there. The Mormon settlers thought of the prophet Joshua when naming the Joshua tree because the limbs point west to conquer more land or something like that. Not because the trees look like people, because those trees don't look like fucking people.
No, they don't.
They just don't. So that was a really super weird fabrication the movie made up. I read a few articles here and there to try to find out if that was true, like anywhere, and it's not. That's not why they're named that. So that I think deserving of number 2, but number 1, this could be worse acting or worse dialogue or both. It is both. Let's do number 1. Tin badge.
Tin badge.
Why? Why Michael? Those tin badge dick brains. If I were a man, they would have paid attention to me. If I was my father, if I was my brothers, if I was anyone with a goddamn dick, someone would have paid attention to me. I mean, why do you have to turn out to be so fucking innocent?
LAPD officer, everything's okay. We got this under control.
Severance, what the fuck is going on? You're supposed to be our protection out here.
LAPD, it's under control here.
Okay, so I included the on-screen death of Eddie, who dies in the beginning, but I did so because we get a new perspective on the scene, and it is Severance explaining to a whole bus full of people that everything's under control, even though he just murdered like 3 people in cold blood by flashing his badge. Also, but the tin badge, dick brained or whatever line was also super funny. So made number 1. Rob, I feel like you're anxious to make a comment here, so I'm going to throw it to you.
I was flipping my upstairs neighbors off.
Okay. Yeah, me too. My upstairs neighbor, which is my son, is still crying, so I'm going to have to do something about that.
Why does he all of a sudden have like a Brooklyn accent?
I know it comes and goes. Maybe he's from Brooklyn and is trying not to the whole movie. I don't know.
LAPD.
Really terrible dialogue. Bob, I feel like maybe you had something else in mind. I don't know.
No, this was that scene when he told the bus full of tourists, whatever they were. That threw me for a loop. I was like not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
And why? You could have not had another car on the road, never mind a bus full of 30 people who just witnessed you kill 3 people and you wave them away because it's FBI business or whatever.
It added nothing. It subtracted nothing. It kind of goes to worst production, so I'm going to hold that.
All right.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that's coming up right after Rob's ad read.
Today's episode of The Worst Movie Ever Made is brought to you by the new Netflix original, 3 Men and a Hot Tub. Is the beer cold? You betcha. Is the tub hot? All the way to the bank. Are they jacking off on each other? Constantly. Join Bryce, Carl, and Tanner as they wiener wiggle their way out of their backyard and into our hearts. 3 Men in a Hot Tub. Fuck it, you'll watch it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, no. Wiener wiggle.
Wiener wiggle. Get a whole wiener wiggle.
Wait, are they 3 a.m. wieners?
Oh,
I mean, it is a hot tub.
That would work so well. I smell a crossover in the future.
All right, test number 5, the worst production. Bob, take it away.
No need to add on scripts or budgets, 'cause now it's time for the worst production.
But even though this is a segment that I usually write, I'm going to open this up for discussion.
Okay.
Here's what I wrote. I wrote too many undeveloped characters have too many lines.
Okay.
That's a big problem. I'm okay with that.
I felt like so even the co-star who is the female lead has about 2 pieces of, I don't know how to word this. She has 2 elements of depth to her. She wants a little excitement, so she's willing to go along, and she's hot.
Yep.
Well, also she's a deputy. Like, I don't know about your history and what you know, but deputies aren't necessarily law enforcement. They're just like honorary.
Yeah,
something.
right.
You know,
it's a tin badge.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they could have done a lot more work for Severance's fellow man in the car, other than him just playing off of Severance, and we never have any idea of what kind of guy he is.
Then you have the sheriff. The sheriff is kind of like given a lot of clout, but he's just a boob, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stripped away too. This is something that I wanted to mention, but couldn't find a reason to. So it's funny. There's a moment where he tells all of the people under him to stay where they are and not to chase Santee.
Right.
And then they all drive away, and I was like, "Is this a comedy moment, or are we supposed to think he has like just no grip on his own subordinates?"
Yeah.
You know. So I took him seriously until that moment, and I didn't know what happened.
Yeah. I didn't know how to take anyone in this movie. Anyone, even Dolph Lundgren was seriously underdeveloped. Like, you still didn't know what the fuck was up with him by the end.
And you didn't have any sense of the chemistry between him and Eddie that would make you feel worse for him.
No,
helping his character develop throughout the movie. His wife, I didn't really get a sense for. And I have no idea why Severance planned to move exotic cars in the first place, and why he decided that Santee and Eddie deserve to die.
Yeah.
In the middle of their route that he planned.
Right.
There's nothing explained, and you're right. I mean, none of the characters have any depth whatsoever.
Zero.
It's just a we're gonna have one guy who's muscly shoot with really good accuracy a bunch of out of shape people who don't know how to shoot guns.
Yeah.
And that was this movie.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the tag here? Lack of character development?
Sure.
Yeah.
This is going to be a quiet time.
We know it's gonna lose to the Mask anyway. So
Yeah, that's true. I think that's a champion. It's got to be.
Yeah.
I could say N word, C word, F word, and I would still lose.
Yeah, well, I mean, the N word wasn't really there, so it ought to win the category, but there was some offensive stuff in some of the masks, so we'll see. But yeah, this movie just made me feel like there was like I hadn't really watched anything but a guy shooting another guy for an hour, and I have a joke about it coming up in the catch-all, so it kind of links in. But yeah, I didn't feel for, and we've talked about this before, but I didn't feel for any character. I wasn't rooting for anybody. I guess I was rooting against Severance.
Yeah,
because he said bean eaters and cunt. So I guess in that way it was effective.
He didn't say cunt. He said cunt.
All right. Well, okay. Let me jot that down. Test number 6: the worst acting. All right. So we have 3 clips coming up for you. I'm sorry, it's clip heavy again. These movies are terrible. What do you want to do? I mean, you have to experience it for yourself. If you're not going to watch the movie, you got to watch the clips. Right, so get on YouTube and check us out. Starting with clip number 1. All right, so that's we're just doing that, huh?
Yeah, I'm just doing that now.
All right, I call this one Eddie.
Oh, man, look at that. Jesus. Officer, you saved us a heck of a bad time.
Up against the truck.
And that's for my protection.
Protection for what? Come on, answer me. What are you hauling? I said, what are you hauling? Open it up. Now, open it.
Okay, relax. I'm opening it.
Eddie!
Jesus!
Prince. I'm sorry. Eddie! Sorry. Hang on.
Why does Dolph Lundgren do that? Is that his like I'm dying noise? Anyway, I promise that if anybody dies on screen, we will feature it, right? And Kenny dies on screen, so we like to this kind of thing we do now. We like to watch the character. I mean, it's supposed to be a main character. It had a level 8 in the movie.
Yeah.
The whole reason he wants vengeance is because his partner Eddie died, right? So we have to watch Eddie die.
Yeah.
We have to see how Eddie does. It's the guy's entire role is to die.
Yeah.
Right. So not very good. But worse than that was Dolph Lundgren reacting to the death.
It's watching an amateur trying to portray the light leaving someone's eyes. You just can't fucking do it.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
I funnier to me personally because I'm this kind of guy. Like I mentioned, we did Demolition Man, ages ago.
Yeah.
But the pilot in the beginning who has like a southern accent and he it's like he's never done a line reading before, even for an audition. He's like, "Hey, what are we doing here? Anyhow," and it's like completely. It's a totally different movie, but that cop was so bored. It seemed.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like they got some guy who had a crew cut, and they were like, "You're gonna do the cop in our movie. We'll give you $10,000." Whatever. And the guy's like, I guess I'll do it, but I really would rather not be filmed, but you're offering me money. That's what it felt like to me, because he's like, what are you hauling? Yeah. Hey, what's this? It's a gun. Why don't you open up the truck? I need to see what's in there. And then they shoot him, and it awful. And I have another thing to say about the cop later, but I'm going to open this up to you guys unless you want to throw it to the next clip.
I'm ready for Bob.
Yeah, next clip.
Okay. All right. So I put a star next to this one. This is a big deal. Okay. Dolph Lundgren gets a shot at delivering a monologue here where he is about to convince a child that he does not want to enter a life of crime. So this is his big shot to show that he is an anti-hero. He does bad things, but what he's going to do is he's going to tell this kid not to do bad things like he does, because he'll end up dead like his dad or dead like I'm going to be in a couple days. And this is what people are looking at. I promise you, decide whether they're going to cast Dolph Lundgren in real movies from now on. And let's see how he does in clip number 2, Dumb and Slow. 2.
Come on.
Oh.
That's real smart, Eugene. It's a good start. Cars. I like that.
I did it for you, man. I want to be like you.
Like me? Great. Now, what day is it? What day is it? What day, I asked you?
Friday.
Well, I'll be dead by Sunday. Now, is that smart? Is that smart?
No.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Your father died because I was too dumb and too slow to help him. I'm not going to be too slow to help you.
Ugh.
What day is it?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he becomes like a 1920s newsie, and he's like, "What day is it? I ask ya." Just weird. And then you can hear his accent when he's like, "I was too dumb and too slow," and you can hear the Sweden coming out. But yeah, he does a drill sergeant bit where he's like, "I can't hear you. I can't hear you," and the kid is better than him. This like 13-year-old kid is like, "No, no," but he's way more convincing than Dolph Lundgren, and I feel like right there he lost any credibility, and nobody was like, "We're going to cast him in any serious role." When they watched that, like, he's a relatively handsome fella. I don't think he's super handsome because he's like a little too chiseled in the face for the aesthetic that I would choose in a man.
He's like handsome. He's like handsome Squidward. Remember that? That's fun. Squidward had that perfect statuesque face.
Right, but there's something off-putting about it, right? But he does. I mean, he's got a statuesque physique. He is cut all over. He's not bodybuilder physique either. He's not Arnold. He's just ripped to the gills.
Yeah.
Right. So people wanted him in their films.
Yeah.
And they gave him a shot in this movie to prove it, and he flopped like a fish fresh on the pier.
Yeah.
It was really pathetic. Let's give it one more go and see if we can do any better with this last clip in number 3. Help.
Where's Rita? She okay?
Stay back, you stupid fuck! I followed you. I figured you needed help. You want to help? Get the fuck out of here!
Okay, so for the YouTube audience, that was more pleasurable because his face. I think that George Segal looks at the camera for a split second. Which is egregious error. That's an egregious error. Dennis Hopper, who is Bob's ultimate favorite actor, number 1 for Bob, in Super Mario Brothers, looks at the camera repeatedly.
Yeah.
There's like 4 instances where he looks at the camera, and every time an actor looks directly at the camera, it breaks any semblance of believability, right? And George Skull does it for a split second. Watch that clip. I think it's on. It's going to be on YouTube on Sunday. Watch the clip. I think he looks at the camera. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's super fast, but it's a doubting. It's almost a look of approval, I think, right? When the actor looks at the camera, they're looking at the person they think they need approval from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can never do that.
I don't want to sound like a pretentious blowhard, but there's a David Foster Wallace essay. He talks about like TV and syndication and how like when shows from different networks cross over to different network for syndication, how it creates like layers of like meta irony and all the stupid shit.
Yeah, sure.
But he makes a really good point where he's like, the whole point of being a good actor is it's the art of acting like you're not being watched. Like
exactly,
hands down. And like his whole thing is like the wink and the nod, like on the sitcom, like they go to the camera, it's like the wink and the nod, and you're supposed to be in on it, but like not in serious or what's supposed to be serious.
Right. That's a great way to put it, and I'm glad you said that. It's exactly what he's doing wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In that clip.
Yeah.
It's like he's being watched, and he knows it, and it just takes a lot away from the scene.
Yeah.
But also, it was really funny.
Yeah.
Had to clip it because it was super funny. All right, let's throw it to Fact or No Fact. Bob, once again, have at it.
Bob is a liar. He will lie to confuse us, but he will also mix lies with the truth to attack us. His attack is psychological and powerful.
I'm rooting for you guys this week.
Yeah, we gotta win one. I'm starting to feel really sad and pathetic.
So, my wife loves this word. My title for this week is "Smarmy of One."
Nice.
That's awesome.
Because that's exactly what I felt when the all those like sexy scenes were happening.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're looking for Chris and Rob to figure out which of these bits of information is actually a fact. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna read 5 things, and they're gonna figure it out this week. They're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna get it.
Can I say I've done no research on this? I have one thing in my head that if you bring it up, I'm going to just go with it because like it's unrelated, but it's kind of related. So
yeah.
All right. This one I found through some digging that I was unintentionally looking for. Anyway, okay. First one. Some actual real sheriffs and deputies were used as extras when lots of police are present in scenes.
Okay.
Okay. Second one. This is sadly, I added the word sadly, the director's last film before retirement. All right. All the desert scenes were actually filmed in Mexico.
Okay.
The director was actually a former stunt double for Harrison Ford in the first 3 Indiana Jones movies.
Okay.
And the last one, George George with the Severance.
Yeah.
He felt dizzy and ill after filming most scenes because of all the massive amounts of cigar smoke.
Oh man, Bob, I hate you so much. Love you. I love
you didn't bring up
you.
You didn't bring up the thing. I thought like they had a title change because like there was like something with like U2 and their Joshua Tree album or some sort of like cease and desist. So
that's a fact.
Is it?
It wasn't it wasn't cease or desist. It was just to avoid confusion because it came out like the year after.
That's what I had that in my head without researching because I just know of the album. But okay.
Yeah, that's a weird situation to find yourself in.
George Segal felt dizzy after cigar smoke. I mean, that's cigar smoke's really rich, man. But like,
it is.
Weren't most of the cigar smoking outdoors though? So like, okay, director was actually a stunt double for Ford and Jones. I don't know anything about that. All desert scenes were filmed in Mexico. But I mean, like, I don't know if there's Joshua trees in Mexico, and there were Joshua trees in the movie. So I'm just going based on absolutely nothing. Director's last film before retirement, possible. I mean, we saw that with Tooth Fairy, whoever's last film. Why are you staring at me, Chris?
I'm not staring at you. I'm staring at Bob. I'm waiting for all his reactions to your points.
He's looking for a tell.
This is poker at its best.
I mean, like it's the whole thing. Like, if you're thinking,
why'd you have to call me up?
All right, I thought you were looking at me. If it wasn't last film, like I mean, it's not like a far fetched thing. It's not like they just hung up. It's like if you go, I'm gonna do one more, and then like it just ends up flopping. You said you're only gonna do one more, so I mean, like it's not too far
that's true. That's good.
Real sheriffs were used as extras. I want to go with just because these are LA cops supposedly. I don't know if it was like actually on location, but like I feel like this is something that LAPD people would do because like their reputation was so bad, and they knew that, and there were like riots and shit. But they're also like, I get to be in a movie, so I'm gonna go with number one.
Man, I'm
like
glad you're
completely
taking
shamelessly.
that way. I'm glad you're taking that one, but I feel like it's clearly not LA they're in. You know, so to take LA cops out so far into the desert would seem like maybe not. It's plausible because that feels like something that's been done before. Like there are real cops in movies we've done before. I'm leaning for the former stuntman for Harrison Ford because I don't know why I should go with that, and that's usually the one that wins. Director's last film you already mentioned. Maybe I don't know. Mexico. The Joshua Tree Mexico Point is good enough for me. I'll go with that. So George Segal felt dizzy and ill. Okay, so I'm between those two. Segal felt dizzy and ill, and former stuntman for Harrison Ford. Those are the two. And Bob's now like one of those is right, and he's going to go with the other one. Let's see. Fuck.
Chris, while you're thinking, you ever see the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Celebrity Edition with Norm Macdonald? And like he narrows it down to two things. I want to do the 50-50. He's like, wait, these are randomized, right? You don't have some guy in the back going like, what? And then he's like, I'm torn between these two options. And then like he does 50-50 and like the exact two options.
The same two options. And no, that was true. That was always true.
And he just gives Regis that look that's like,
that was always true of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, though. Yeah. Like if you did the 50-50 and you named the two that you were thinking, it was always
exactly.
Literally.
Regis was like, I swear to God, that's not what's going to happen. And happens, and the look on Norm's face is just fucking priceless.
All right, allow me just a few seconds to figure this out, okay? You said the director, Bob.
Yeah.
Right? Was the former stuntman for Harrison Ford in 3 Indiana Jones movies?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. And you said that George Segal felt dizzy and ill when smoking cigars on set.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I got nothing out of that. All right. I'm gonna go with George Segal felt dizzy and ill when smoking.
That's a YouTube moment right there, audience. Please check this out. All Chris was missing was a monocle or a giant magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, how did Chris do?
Well, first of all, this was filmed outside of Los Angeles in California. It was not filmed in Mexico. Good job. On the Joshua Tree figuring it out.
Well, because Joshua Tree's Northern California, right? It won't be Mexico too. It's two different climates, no?
It's like watching a movie called Bamboo Shoot and it's in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, definitely not.
I know nothing about the Joshua Trees except for the fact that this movie is called that.
Yeah.
This is actually the director's first movie, not last.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
We have a really good shot now, Rob.
Yeah,
66%.
Yeah,
he's laughing because we got it wrong.
You did get it wrong. I'm so sorry.
No, Christ. Was it the former stuntman?
It was.
Oh! My God.
This director apparently did most of his work in movies as a stunt double. He only decided to direct for this movie and didn't do much afterwards.
Oh my God! I'm sorry for screaming, guys.
He was actually a prolific stuntman. Like he was like obviously he did Harrison Ford. He also, I want to say he did parts in Terminator 2. He did
Terminator 2. You say?
I do. He did apparently like very, very good work as a stunt double, and this was his first and maybe only movie he directed.
Wow.
Chris, I wanted you to win. I really did want you to win.
Oh my God, I can't believe I fucking jumped ship last month. I had this one again. I feel like I do this to myself all the time.
So the one Joshua Tree fact I know is Queens of the Stone Age Songs for the Deaf, which is a fucking great album.
It is.
The whole album, it's a concept album of a drug-induced road trip from Los Angeles to Joshua Tree.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Isn't Joshua Tree where you go to do a lot of drugs?
Like ayahuasca and shit, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And peyote, stuff like that.
Something like that.
Peyote.
Okay, I'll get over that loss at some point. Not tonight.
Not tonight.
In a few days. I'm done rubbing my brain.
Yep.
All right, let's do the catch-all.
If you've caught one, you've caught them all. Welcome to the catch-all.
Okay, I'm gonna run through these. I feel like we're running a little. I don't think Lieutenant Detective is a real rank.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's not. Gmail us. Rob, what's the email?
The worstmovieevermade.com. Just go to the
Yeah,
worst,
go there.
Go there and click the email button.
Yeah. No explanation for why any of this is happening. I briefly mentioned this before, but I have no idea why this movie started, and I don't know why it finished. I don't know why it became. It's like the universe. Why bother?
At least Black Dog had direction. I'm just saying.
Deserts make for easy sets, and it feels a little cheap to me.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Dolph Lundgren as a truck driver is just hilarious.
Yeah.
Him with the truck driver hat and the cut-off sleeve flannel shirt.
Yeah.
Running out of the truck, and then at the end of the movie when he's back in that same getup to say he's got his old job back. Yeah. This 6'4" ridiculously ripped Swedish man does not drive around Joshua Tree delivering parts for vehicles. It's just not a thing. The biker cop is clearly not talking to anyone in the reflection of him on the truck when the voiceover is happening. So this is where I said I had more on the cop. If you look at the back of the truck and you see the very clear reflection of the police officer, his mouth is not moving while he's delivering dialogue.
Right?
Yeah. They found a way to get his shirt off pretty quick.
Yep.
He had to use it to squeeze water out for him and a coyote so that the coyote doesn't bite him. A very small bandage for a bullet wound. And where did he get it? Also, he's been running for a day and a half, having been shot in his side.
Yeah. There's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right, he's just immortal, I guess. Shouldn't there be a scene where we get a sense of Santee's moral compass? I mean early. We get it halfway through where he delivers the message
soliloquy,
to the young man. But early we should get a sense that he's a moral person and not just a criminal asshole. And before we get the soliloquy, as you put it, Rob, we get a lot of tit staring. And I feel like he's a bad person.
Uncomfortable tit staring.
Yeah. Plus, the kidnap.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
uncomfortable. Tit staring aside, he did kidnap the woman as well.
Yeah.
Good thing she drives a high performance pickup truck.
Yeah, every deputy's got to have one.
Yeah, I guess so. And gas was at $1.39. If I see it in a movie, I tend to write it down because, God damn it.
Can I tell you something that's gonna piss you off, Chris?
Yeah.
And Bob, Kroger gas points. We get up to because we do everything at Kroger. We got 80 cents a gallon off. Right when it was dipping, I paid $1.79 for. I sent you guys the receipt, I think, a while back. It was like $1.79 a gallon for 1 week.
I do remember that. I do remember hating you in that moment. They never used that cool dune buggy. I thought for sure. I wrote in my notes they will definitely use this dune buggy, the thing that his dad had in an open shed. I was like, they're definitely going to use this. I'm going to write it down as a prediction.
Like a Vin Diesel backflip with a sawed off and perfectly accurate while he's doing it.
Exactly. I mean, we did get that kind of tomfoolery, but it not in the form of a dune buggy, which I thought for sure we would. Santee is okay. This one's a little long. Santee is looking at a cop who is looking back at a guy who's holding a gun wrapped in paper, trapping a woman against a wall, and looks identical to the news report picture of a cop killer who just escaped the area on a TV right next to him. I mean, it was a picture of him next to him. and he's got a gun, and he's trapping a woman against a wall,
And he's
the
just
cop's
going like this.
I'm gonna buy a mango for 40 cents.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is happening here? How does he not notice? But immediately after that, we get exploding fruits, vegetables, cakes, and such, which I thought was really funny. Everything is shot, exploded.
What's that destruction of small business?
The wanton destruction of
wanton
personal property
destruction
and small
of personal property. This should have been on our most offensive list.
Yeah.
Well,
good mention.
That's a bingo card moment, I think.
I think it is.
Oh, definitely.
At this point,
Yeah, somebody might have gotten bingo by now. We did mention South Park earlier, too.
Yeah, we did.
She complains about being dropped off 30 minutes from town. She's been kidnapped. The guy's letting her go unharmed. He hasn't beaten her, raped her, killed her, nothing. He's dropping her off 30 minutes walk from town, and she's bitching about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's at a biker bar, and she steals a dirt bike.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to say, and I had in my notes, they didn't have the budget for a Harley, but then they later introduced like 7 Ferraris, and maybe that's why they didn't have the budget for the Harley. Maybe they filmed this dirt bike scene later. Just thought that was really funny. The 2 guys hanging outside the biker bar were on dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Why is she going to help him in the first place? Is she now convinced? Has Stockholm syndrome taken place at this point? I don't understand why she's not just calling the police.
They never made it clear, and like the fact is, like if he's kidnapping somebody, like, in any movie, even if it's a cheesy movie like a summer blockbuster action movie, all it would tell you is like, listen, I'm innocent. You don't believe me now, but you'll believe me later. Like anything, none of that.
Yeah.
None of it.
Just fucking lame.
Because the doubt and then proving himself like just makes it a stronger. Yeah, never mind.
Right. I did write, and I later struck it out because I thought it wasn't compelling enough. But to support your point, he should be trying to win her over.
Yeah.
Because he is innocent. Right?
Yeah.
How does she know?
Barely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, he's innocent of killing an innocent person. That's a clunky sentence, but he didn't kill an innocent person, but he's doing just about everything else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How did she know where he went? I don't remember him telling her the address of the home that he's invading.
No. He was looking for a ranch. That was the whole thing. Like, where's a horse ranch around here?
That's right.
Fair.
She ran around asking people for a ranch. Yeah.
Okay, let me introduce the number 1 folly from Terminator 2 for no reason at all. Ties into this really well. Sarah Connor goes off to kill Miles Dyson and leaves no note as to where that person is. Maybe Arnold the Terminator can just search in his brain where Miles Dyson lives, but the T-1000 needs the police machine to tell him addresses. So I assume that the less advanced machine and John Connor don't know where Miles Dyson lives.
Yeah.
And they show up there anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm talking about Terminator 2, but I thought I'd introduce that now and not, when we review that for a good movie at some point.
Yes.
Jimmy Shoeshine. I told you I wasn't going to say his name earlier.
It seems offensive.
It
really
does. It does. I mean, Shoeshine seems like an offensive thing to do. Like to say, go get your shine box, right? Is a reason a guy got killed in a movie once, famously.
Yeah.
But not just that. Santee and Severance. These are the names that you came up with for the characters
Better
in your
than
movie.
Fender and Rickenbacker.
All right, fair. What was that? Crow?
No, that was fuck you, dude. That was Cyborg.
Oh, right.
Oh,
you're thinking about Tintin and Stank.
Oh, right. Okay.
All right.
Also very bad. The cops crashing into each other was ludicrous and hilarious. When he I tend to go in chronological order here, but when he's speeding behind a Ferrari and the cops by the biker bar who are responding to the incident where the girl like does karate, like Merrick
that was
does karate.
hilarious. Yeah.
And then they pull out, even though they clearly see a cop car coming with the lights on, the
It's a
sirens and
desert.
everything.
It's a desert road. You can see the fucking horizon. Yeah, and you see this car whipping down. You're like, oh, doop, boop, boop. I'm just gonna go perpendicularly to that.
Bang!
Yeah.
And that explains how he
Yeah.
gets away
Yeah.
at that point. Oh shit, that's most offensive. Santee drives off or tries to before Merrick can get in the car, and what's her face? Mrs. Severance is shooting at them.
Yeah.
And Santee leaves her there to die, but
For
she
dead.
manages to climb into the car.
Well, then he's also going like 125 miles an hour, and she doesn't have a seatbelt on.
True. I mean, that's also bad, but he left her there to die.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did she get shoes instead of heels?
Oh.
And for that matter, where did he get a garage hacking device?
Oh, I love that device.
It's a totally ridiculous device, but I'm pretty sure he didn't have it in his ass in prison. So where did he get it?
That's a very valid point, Chris. Part of me thinks Bob says there's a few alternate endings. There has to be a much longer director's cut that never saw the light of day. Because
maybe so.
I feel like a lot of these questions we have, like, to the director's dismay, is like they should have been in the film. It would have clarified a bunch of things, even with like 10 minutes more screen time. And it's just we're left in the dark with everybody's motive. Like every instance.
As far as I can tell, the actually we actually watched the longer cut because the only cuts they made the only cuts they made for UK audiences was all those blood squibs for all the entrance and exit wounds from all the shooting was too much for foreign audiences, and they cut those.
Yeah.
We got
to
see it.
Yeah, they probably also cut the knife to the throat too, I imagine.
Possibly.
I have that coming up. But all right, I'm gonna run over some quick tropes. He has a code. Santee has a code.
Yeah.
Severance tells us he has a code.
Mm-hmm.
Stormtroopers galore.
Yeah.
He is Rambo.
Basically.
Yeah.
Well, a bad guy runs out of bullets. Very conveniently.
Yep.
Our anti-hero would have lost if he didn't.
Yeah.
And finally, bad guy says, do it, when he's got a big rock, as in kill me, and we're supposed to think he's more psychotic or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very lame. What made the Rolls Royce explode?
Yeah.
Full gas tank.
Fair enough. Future.
Future.
Future gas tank.
He knows how to shoot backwards and backwards upside down.
Yeah.
With incredible accuracy.
Yeah.
Sets a guy on fire and then kicks him into explosives, and the guy evaporates.
He explodes.
Yeah.
Into like a trillion pieces. I mean, he explodes like Thanos clicked his thumb and finger. You know, like there is no piece of him left. He just becomes particulates in the air. It's insane.
There's an Onion article about like henchmen conveniently gather around like a pile of flammable barrels.
Yeah, they do. They do. I'm thinking now of Bangkok Dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that a lot in that one. All right, the next thing I have is the knife to the throat was gruesome, but we kind of just mentioned that.
Yeah.
He knows the exact radius of a Ferrari air tank paint combo explosion, and he knows just how much of a radius of explosion 6 oil silos will have when he shoots them as he's driving through them.
Right.
None of this seems remotely dangerous to him because he knows what exactly the kind of response, because he's driven through 6 oil silos and blown them up before. No big deal.
Yeah.
Severance can't hear her scream after he blows Mike away.
Yeah.
She screams, and they cut the audio from the scream, which might be an effective tool for showing the anguish by cutting away her sound so you can put in your own.
Like in Saving Private Ryan, they did that, and it worked.
It does work. It can work. But in this instance, it doesn't work because she's 20 feet away from the bad guys. And they did it so that we didn't wonder why they didn't hear her screaming.
Yeah.
You know who did hear her scream? Severance's wife, apparently. She knew.
Did she know? Did she say that?
She's near the end. She's like, kill the girl, too.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. She did.
God damn it.
I assume that because she was jealous that Santee's probably fucking her now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably right. That goes back to my whole thing about all these characters having too many lines. Like, why was that woman even in the story? Like, I don't understand.
No idea. But it's funny that you mention her. Santee shot this officer, and then he ran out here and snapped this guy's neck, and then ran back into the building. So they're saying that he shot Mike, the officer, dead. Right? This is Severance and his cohort.
Right.
Are saying that that's what happened, but how did they explain Jimmy with the snapped neck? He ran out there and snapped Jimmy's neck and then ran back in the building, and somehow they weren't able to shoot him point blank. And here you go, Bob. Severance's wife at the scene of the shootout. That's kind of crazy. And she's in PJs, and they're different PJs from the night before. So she changed into different PJs to go.
Those
to
are her morning PJs.
Right, her crime scene PJs.
These are my home PJs. These are my walking around on the town PJs.
I know this is pre-Law and Order and all that kind of stuff, but you don't think they would take the shell casings out of the bodies and discover they were police bullets used in all these killings?
Oh, no, they would absolutely. And one thing to refute what I just said is that they would have seen that Mike was shot point blank.
Yeah.
They would know that. It wouldn't have been a bullet that came from inside the factory, so they would have known that it wasn't him in the first place, which then they would work back the timeline and realize that Severance was already there, so he must have killed him. And that explains the next sound. So the cops get a Ferrari too?
Yeah.
They're just allowed to take one of these like illegal exotic cars to chase them down?
Yeah.
I know.
How is that? How? Like,
well,
they would just chase them down with those helicopters.
See, first, a third of our paycheck comes out every week, and then that funds the police, and then they go on joyrides.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's totally fair.
Also, Santee's Ferrari had a California plate, whereas Severance's Lamborghini had no plate.
Oh, it was a Lambo. Okay.
I thought that was kind of funny that the criminal had a registered plate on their car, or the criminal.
But the detective had the hot car.
Right.
Thank God for that desert bridge over dirt that they hid it under for aloe application and helicopter avoidance.
Desert bridge
over dirt.
Desert dirt bridge.
Yeah.
You don't want to go through that dirt. That'll get all up in your tires.
Yeah.
Why hide out in Joshua Tree instead of fleeing to Mexico?
Yeah.
I don't understand this at all.
I think they made one passing line on that.
Yes, earlier.
I forget the female leads. She's
Merrick.
They implied a home field advantage because he knows the area.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say that he wanted to die, like a Bonnie and Clyde, or a what was the Thelma and Louise kind of like. Yeah. They wanted to, like, he wanted to see his end, like he wanted to die in battle rather than get away.
Yeah, maybe.
Again, here we are, bingo card, giving the movie too much
credit. Yeah.
Weird desert fruit romance warm-up.
Oh, God.
What was that? It wasn't a kiwi.
Dragon fruit?
Aloe.
Do those grow out there in Joshua Tree?
No.
What is he eating? And then he's like, here, take a bite. And she's like, I'm going to sexy bite that kiwi like you've never seen. Watch these pouty lips grip that kiwi. And then they start applying aloe. And I was like, this is the least sexy thing I've ever seen. For a girl, and, to her credit, she's pretty hot. She's, a little, I don't know, narrow or something. But she's, they made sure to show us that body they advertised religiously in this movie. And it's nice.
Body double.
No, really?
Yep.
No shit.
All the nudity was a body double.
So it's like,
how can you have an unknown actress and a body double?
So it's like the stunt cock in Orgasmo.
So how did they cast her? You look good in clothes and you're a bad actress? Like that's enough. We don't need to see anything because I will spend more money on a second actress who has a nice body.
Yeah, I saved that for from Fact or No Fact for you guys. That was a body double. Yeah.
Thank God that abandoned house in the sand was drive up and throughable.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? There were like handicap ramps for I don't know, trolls. Like the wheelchair that you'd need to access that handicap ramp was like 3 times the width of a normal person, and then there's just a big hole in the house.
Yeah.
And he apparently juked the cops into hitting each other even in that tiny house.
He did.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the point. Way too much car chase.
Yeah.
Too much.
I had said before, like pickup truck stunt driving does not a good movie make, and still showing stunt drivers driving Ferraris around does not make your movie good.
Yeah.
You have to do more than that. Severance versus Santee. Even injured, Santee would crush him into mustache dust. This is all the same thing. So I'm just going to read all 3 of these points out and
right.
let you guys figure it out from there. So his record is clean now. That's one.
Yeah.
1 minute setup, 140-minute conflict, 1 minute resolution. And the audience must now do the work. So
yeah.
So how is it? So to my point, they set up the movie in about a minute, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was 3. I don't know. And then they spent about an hour and a half of him getting away, him doing the Bob to your credit, the fugitive, trying to escape the law, but really wants to take them on.
Yeah.
And then they do literally a minute and a half of resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the movie. So really they thought, let's maximize the conflict. Let's that's the juice of the movie. We're just gonna put the the bread on the sandwich is gonna be as thin as possible.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be a pretense of bread between the meat.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. And it's so bad that I don't know how it is that he's just a trucker with no record and she is no longer an accomplice, but she's a deputy sheriff again. So I'm going to let you guys talk now. I couldn't figure any of that out. So
they never showed us. They never told us anything. That was my biggest frustration with this entire movie. It's like those sandwiches you see on Instagram where it's like a piece of Wonder Bread and then like an entire brisket. And then, like, another piece of Wonder Bread.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly that. I just don't like movies that... Go ahead, Bob.
I want to say I agree, but I feel like the opposite analogy. I feel like it's just bread.
All right, that's much better. It's a bread sandwich.
It's a ketchup sandwich.
I feel like maybe you're right. It's like a piece of Wonder Bread and then 2 pieces of Wonder Bread soaked in water. And then 1 more piece of Wonder Bread on top.
And then a glass of water on the side for dipping.
Yeah, for dipping. But
it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that the resolution was a minute because in all the alternate endings that they filmed, the ending was the same. It was just Dolph Lundgren at his little ranch.
Those 2 shaking hands.
Yes. that never changed. That was the same in every cut.
We gotta keep this in.
Yeah, we gotta have Jamie Kennedy
of the film. Gotta have Jamie Kennedy.
You gotta have Jamie Kennedy at all costs. Jamie Kennedy.
All right. So yeah, I just lastly, I know we're running long here, but part of that was me and my pee in my crib.
You peed in your crib, yes. We'll cut that
I went upstairs and I climbed into my crib and I peed in it. But
we'll keep that and cut everything else.
Yeah.
I like dongs or whatever I said like 4 episodes ago. Yeah. So I don't like movies where the audience has to do the work when you've given us no framing. If you've given us a couple of obvious conclusions and we can draw from that, then fine. But if you have given us no way to draw a conclusion, so it's entirely open to interpretation. I don't want to have to do that work, and I won't. Yeah. And so your movie doesn't end for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you give me a few options, like, oh, this could have happened, then I'll decide what's best for me, and I'm fine with that. But if you literally give me nothing, then I don't want to do the work, and I hated the way this movie ended.
Yeah.
All right, back credit names.
Alternate ending, huh? Huh?
Oh, yeah, I wrote that in next.
All right.
Rob's alternate ending. Oh, yeah.
This one's really quick, so I'm just going to read it and go straight into bad credit names. How about that?
Yeah, perfect.
Alternate ending. Dash cam footage exonerates Santee in 5 minutes, and we go home. Bad credit names.
I do prefer that.
Bad credit names, like...
I'm Harvey Manfred Johnson.
Okay, so you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell my wife about this next section. I'm just going to let her. I'm gonna use this as a gauge to find out whether she ever listens. Right? The first name in bad credit names is Aaron Osborne, and that was her name before she married me. It was a guy in Army of One Joshua Tree, Aaron Osborne, but it's Aaron Osborne. So I'm not going to tell her. I haven't told her yet. I'm not going to. Guy B.
Okay.
Guy B.
Yeah. So B movie. Think of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
As like a human and a bee cross.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see getting romantic with that. Yeah. Dennis Dink Adams.
Dink.
I hope he's like 6'8", and they just trying to be clever.
Hello there, Douglas.
Yeah, very expensive. Crusher Greenwood.
Yeah,
it's not in parentheses. As far as we know, his first name is Crusher.
Nice.
Sounds like he should be an over the top.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm Smasher. Yeah.
All right, I only have 2 more, and they're not super funny, but Wim Van Molders.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That guy eats crumpets every day.
Yes.
And finally, Buster.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah,
so
his
like
name is Buster.
a one name stage name like Prince or Madonna, but it's just Buster.
Right. But he's just like the 58th most important person in the production crew. But he decided his name was going to be Buster. He was just going to go for the one name thing.
Yeah, I have an addition to bad credit names for the first time in a long time.
Hey, what do you got?
The body doubles stage name was Crystal Breeze.
Okay, Crystal Breeze is nice. That sounds like the kind of like it's a powdered electrolyte thing that you add to your water.
It sounds like a douche.
Yeah, or a detergent scent maybe.
Yeah.
All right, let's compare the movie. Okay, so I was gonna say Rob's alternate ending, but let's compare the movies.
Time to compare the movies. Time to compare the movies.
Okay, so The Mask wins. We'll see you guys next week. This is the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, pretty much. We have an offensive mini game to play, so we can skip right to that if you guys want. But
no, let's
do our due diligence, right?
Yeah.
Son of the Mask, negative 58.8, and worst Army of Tree. I wrote negative 21.6%, and not the worst. So clearly we have a winner there. However, Army of Tree fights back with Chris getting a 4.5 over a team 4 for Son of the Mask. So at this point, we're 1-1.
Okay.
We'll skip offensive because we got a minigame. Dialogue, what's worse? I think Son of the Mask.
Yes, Son of the Mask.
Yeah. Production. So let's compare these. Casting Jamie Kennedy or lack of character development.
I mean, isn't that the same thing? It's the same picture, Chris.
It's a wash.
Well, you want to wash it?
It's a wash unless it needs a tie break. Then we'll revisit it.
Okay,
I think
we'll wash it. Acting.
Mask?
I actually think.
No,
I don't know
because Ben Stein's in there. I didn't think Alan Cumming was that bad. I didn't even think Bob Hoskins was that bad. I think Jamie Kennedy was overpoweringly bad.
You're right. I think Joshua Tree might be worse.
Joshua Tree was really bad.
Are we going with Joshua Tree?
It had a collection of bad acting.
Okay, demerits. We have Jamie Kennedy and Dog Kill Baby. It's pretty bad. You guys want to add any demerits here? This is a chance for us to sway it one way or another against science.
I'm actually going to give them a negative demerit for not using the N-word edit.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so they decided not to use the N-word. All right, so obviously the son of Mask wins this one.
Yeah.
So we have a 3-2 lock with a wash on production headed into the offensive minigame. So this really matters. Believe it or not, I didn't think it would. I didn't think that Son of the Mask would have any competition between now and Battlefield Earth. But let's see how they fare in the offensive minigame. Offensive minigame. And there's your.
We're gonna make one. We'll make one.
All right.
Terrible.
I always start with the champion. Yes, thank you. Son of the Mask, blaspheming bad-looking babies, or domestically disturbing detective.
Oh, detective.
Detective, yeah.
100%.
Okay. All right.
Backhand that bitch.
Yeah.
or don't.
Yeah.
Power pissing on Papa.
Okay.
Or hurling Hispanic hate.
Hurling Hispanic hate.
Yeah,
but
it really is.
I mean, there's no tiebreaker if we do that, though.
It's okay. We can still play the third round.
Yeah.
All right, we'll play the third round.
We can break rules.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Army of Tree is more offensive.
It is.
Damn. Okay, so the production is not going to be a wash. But here's your bonus round, and I'm going to flip it. Jesus Christ! Both bad C words. Or film foot fetish finale.
C words. C words
Yeah,
for sure.
it's just truly a more offensive movie.
Yeah,
it really is more offensive movie.
They use both really offensive C words.
Yes.
Okay, so Army of Tree is more offensive. We have a 3-3 tie, so we must go to production. We must decide whether casting Jamie Kennedy or casting in general, really, but Jamie Kennedy in parentheses, or lack of character development is worse. And I'm going Jamie Kennedy.
I am too, because they both had a lack of character development.
Yeah.
They did indeed. Anybody that wasn't Jamie Kennedy was not a developed character.
Yeah.
Right.
And the person they decided to put all their chips on was Jamie Kennedy, and that's a very bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree.
By a more narrow margin than I expected, Son of the Mask is the worst movie of the season, and that's locked in because we don't have another bad movie to go. Because next week we are watching
All right, let's just
listenership has just dropped 20%.
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2. Judgment Day.
It's one of my top 10s, honestly, and probably because of what it did to me with the brilliance of the CGI.
Watching that movie, because like Terminator 1, I think has a higher score by a very slight margin, but
it does.
I was like alive and like sentient when
I don't know what that word means.
Terminator 2 for the first time. I watched it with like my dad in the family room, and it's like a core memory for me because it was so fucking awesome. It's one of those movies.
No, well, same.
I have to admit, I was in high school when it came out, and there was so much hype around it that I like, without watching it, I hated it. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna watch it.
I've done that a bunch of times.
Yeah,
and I always regretted
And then I watch it later, and I'm like, okay, it's got a lot of good shit in it.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's such a good. It's an amazing movie, and it's I feel like it's the best explanation for the Austrian accent. It's not a good one, but it's the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't want to keep going because I have a lot of thoughts on the movie and I can just spew them away. And we've already run long, and I should just save it for next week. I cannot wait, guys, to do Terminator 2. It's absolutely one of my favorites. Jaws being my number one, but Terminator 2 is not far behind.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what we should do for a bonus show. Let's just talk about our favorite movies. No, let's not do that. We gotta save them.
Okay. All right.
All right. Anyway, I love the listener, and I love my co-hosts, and I love this show, and I hope it never ends. It's gonna take a long time to suss out what the worst movie ever is. So I hope you are along for the entire ride. And Rob, where can they find us?
theworstmovieevermade.com. All of our shit is there. We're trying to be a little more clip heavy now that we've been doing the video series for a while with our YouTube stuff. And just some short reels, just like with some highlights from the shows. We're trying to be a little more on top of that, just so we have some more goodies for you guys to view if you go on our Instagram and TikTok. Yeah. And Bob's got a trailer coming out. Should have gone in the catch-all actually. The kill count. Dolph Lundgren's kill count.
No, I purposely avoided it.
Oh, okay.
That's my last word. Actually, is the script had him kill 5 people in that warehouse shootout.
What the fuck? That's an amazing last word. Okay, check out the trailer if you want to know more. It's on TikTok and Instagram. We're posting tomorrow.
All right. See you guys.
See you guys.